Hey, this is Thursday, October 4th, and of course that's why you should never shave a clown's head. This is for the regular class. We're going to go ahead and finish out our story called Man from the South. I know, just the thought of it. Sorry. Before I forget, the story for tomorrow's quiz. Hey, you down there. Once again, I sent out a link yesterday where it's a video of me reading it and teaching it. If you don't want to have to use your own brain, use the link. I will send it again today to try and remind you that you have the video or the story for tomorrow. Tomorrow, you are partnering up with one other person. If you have not read the story, that's going to make it real hard for someone to want to partner up with you. So just giving you the heads up. And if you partner poorly and then realize partway through that your partner's an idiot, you've partnered poorly. So make sure you choose wisely. And this is how friendships are ruined. Just like by clicking pins or how pins are lost. See how subtle that was? You don't have to yell at a kid or anything, and the pin clicking stopped.
Yeah, it just started because you said that.
That's their kids losing points. That's a different sound. I was trying to be nice to the good kid. Let's see. With our story of Man from the South. Oh yeah, we have we have 4 characters. Yep. 4 characters so far. We have the sailor guy,
the vacationer, and the English girl.
Worst meets. We have sailor dude, vacation guy, creepy old man, and quiet girl who hasn't talked yet. Where's our story taking place?
A hotel in
Jamaica. Jamaica. And then also we know
it's at a beach. 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock at night.
6 o'clock at night. Nicely done.
Love that for
near
you.
the pool. And did we get to the part with you guys? We did. We just found out that the sailor has a bad habit. Smoking cigarettes. And then he offers a cigarette to the old man and the vacationer dude. And vacation dude says, cigarettes? Heck yeah. But then old man does not. What does old man do instead?
I have a cigar.
And that's where we get to before I forget, suspense. This is where first period if you're watching this part. We got like in the middle of suspense, we're getting ready to find out what's getting ready to happen. Like, oh my God, is he really? And the bell rang, and I'm like, finish it on your own, like table flip. So that's where the suspense is. Hopefully we don't get there with you guys. We get to actually finish. Okay. If you're watching this at home, the answer is we did. If you're not watching this at home, it's because this period had issues. What part of the mountain does the suspense come in?
Rising
I was a little worried there for a moment. Alright, and we got to our story. Azaleas.
Flowers.
Big flowery things. Naval cadets.
Military guys.
And that's where the kid who smokes the cigarette, he is one of the naval cadet people from there. And then he shows up, the cigarette, we're good to go. Get to Panama. Oh, what is it the old man does with his shoes? I would say that makes him kind of weird, but with what we have coming up, it's not even a blip on his weird radar. And there's his crocodile case. All right.
You can show us the lighter again.
I am going to show you the lighter again. And then this is where the kid pulls out his lighter. I put more fluid in it, so hopefully now it lights each time we do it. Woo! All right. And the idea being is that it does not go out easily when you wave it back and forth, or even.
Do it closer. Yeah. There we go.
You have to get really close to make it happen. And that's what he's talking about, where it does not blow out very often. And the kid pulls out the lighter, and he offers to light their cigarettes, and the dude's cigars, and that's where we'd stop. So now, for those of you playing the home game, we are on 3rd column, right about theirsies. We are welcome to follow along, or just listen to my melodic voice.
I will.
We'll put that there as our taunting thing. All right, we got to... The little man removed his unlighted cigar from his mouth. We have to back up. The kid says, I'll light it. And the guy says, that will not work in this wind. The kid says, sure it'll work. It always works. The little man removed his unlighted cigar from his mouth, cocked his head on one side, and looked at the boy. Always? He said softly. Yeah, sure, it never fails. I mean, not with me anyway. The little man's head was still cocked over on one side, and he was still watching the boy. Well, you say, this famous lighter, it never fails. Is that you say? Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's right. He was about 19 or 20, with a long, freckled face and a rather sharp, bird-like nose. His chest was not very sunburned, and there were freckles there too, and a few wisps of pale reddish hair. He was holding the lighter in his right hand, ready to flip the wheel. Yeah, it never fails, he said, smiling now because he was purposely exaggerating his little boast. I promise you, it never fails. One moment, please. The hand that held the cigar came up high, palm outwards though we're stopping traffic. Now just one moment. He had a curiously soft, toneless voice, and he kept looking at the boy all the time. Shall we not perhaps make a little bet on that? He smiled at the boy. Shall we not make a little bet on whether your lighter lights? Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll bet. Why not? Oh, you like to bet. Yeah, sure, I'll always bet. The man paused and examined his cigar. I must say, I didn't much like the way he was behaving. It seemed like he was already trying to make something out of this and to embarrass the boy. And at the same time, I had the feeling he was relishing a private little secret all his own. He looked up again at the boy and said slowly, I like to bet too. Why we don't have a good bet on this thing? A good big bet. Wait, now, wait a minute, the boy said. I can't do that, but I'll bet you $1 or whatever it is over here. I don't know, some shillings, I guess. The little man waved his hand again. No, listen to me. Now, we have some fun. We make a bet. And then we go up to my room here in the hotel where is no wind. And I bet you cannot light this famous lighter of yours 10 times in a row without missing once. It says in the story 10 times running, but that seems to just confuse kids. They're like, does he have to sprint down a hallway?
No.
10 times running just means 10 times in a row. So the bet is whether you can just open it up, light it, close it, open it up, light it, close it from there. So, without missing once. Yeah, all right, I'll bet I can, the boy said. All right. All right, well, good. We make bet. Yes? Sure, I'll bet you like $1. No. I make you very good bet. I am rich man, and I am sporting man also. Listen to me. Outside the hotel, it's my car. It's very fine car. American car from your country. Cadillac. Hey, whoa, now. Wait a minute. The boy leaned back in his deck chair and he laughed. I can't put up that sort of property. Come on, that's crazy. Not crazy at all. You strike lighter successfully 10 times running. Cadillac is yours. You'd like to have this Cadillac, yes? Well, sure, I'd like to have a Cadillac. The boy was still grinning. All right, fine. We make a bet. I put up my Cadillac. Okay. What do I put up? The little man carefully removed the red band from his still unlighted cigar. I never ask you, my friend, to bet something you cannot afford. You understand? Then what do I bet? I'll make it very easy for you, yes? Okay, you'll make it easy. Some small thing you can afford to give away. And if you did happen to lose it, you'd not feel too bad, right? Such as what? Such as perhaps the little finger of your left hand. My... What? The boy stopped grinning. Yes, why not? You win, you take the car. You lose, I take the finger.
What? Really? Want a finger?
Remember that whole rising action part? I think we got that.
How do you use that?
I don't get it. How do you mean you take the finger? Oh, I chop it off. Jumping jeepers. No, that's a crazy bet. Nah, I think I'll just make $1. The man leaned back, spread out his hands, palms upward, and gave a tiny, contemptuous shrug of the shoulders. Well, I don't understand. You say it lights, but you will not bet. Then we forget it. Yes. Quick pause. The two things being bet. What is the old man offering up?
Cadillac.
Yes, the story was set a little while ago, so it's an older Cadillac, but still, there's going to be a Cadillac along with something like that. And if the man wins, what does the man get?
Another finger.
Now, the question comes up, why does he want a finger?
Yeah.
I don't think it is he wants the finger. I think it's the joy of letting someone cut your finger off. And it's the idea that when you're rich, you need something exciting in life. And I've got a feeling someone is going, yeah, you can cut it off, and going, yakka-cha! And then cutting it off brings some excitement to life.
Or maybe
whatever it might be.
the took you to a Cadillac.
I'd
drive one of those.
Right? Would you drive it with only 9 fingers?
Yeah.
Quickly, yeah. 4 fingers.
I learned to
I'm
cut off
good.
my toes.
Yeah.
But I'm
You can drive it with your finger. You do that. Can you try lighting your
quiet, I
light?
want
people
to hear the stuff.
The man leaned back. Oh, he did that. I'm sorry. The boy sat quite still, staring at the bathers in the pool. Then he remembered suddenly he hadn't lighted his cigarette. He put it between his lips, cupped his hands around the lighter, and flipped the wheel. The wick lighted and burned with a small, steady yellow flame. I'll even do it. Hang on. Small, steady yellow flame. And the way he held his hands, the wind didn't get to it at all. "Can I have a light too?" I said. "Oh, yeah, gee, I'm sorry. I forgot you didn't have one." I held out my hand for the lighter, but he stood up and came over to do it for me. "Thank you," I said, and he returned to his seat. You having a good time?" I asked. "Fine. It's pretty nice here." There was a silence then, and I could see that the little man had succeeded in disturbing the boy with his absurd proposal. He was sitting there very still, and it was obvious that a small tension was beginning to build up inside of him. Then he started shifting about in his seat and rubbing his chest and stroking the back of his neck. And finally he placed both hands on his knees and began tapping his fingers against his kneecaps. Soon he was tapping one of his feet as well. Okay. All right, now let me check up on this bet of yours. You say we go up to your room, and if I make this lighter light 10 times running, I win a Cadillac. But if it misses just once, I forfeit the little finger of my left hand. Is that right? Certainly. That is the bet. But I think you are afraid. What do we do if I lose? Do I have to, hold my finger out while you chop it off? Oh, no. That would be no good, and you might be tempted to refuse to hold it out. What I should do, I should tie one of your hands to the table before we started, and I stand there with a knife, ready to go chop the moment your lighter missed. What year's the Cadillac? Excuse? I not understand. What year? How old is the Cadillac? Ah, how old? Yes, it is last year. Quite new car. But I see you are not a betting man. Americans never are. Do you pick up what the old man's doing there?
He's trying to make him.
By the way, who is the fourth character who's not said much yet?
The girl.
And what do boys do in front of girls?
Try to be
stupid. I would say either showing off or be stupid or both of the above. And so that's when he's like, "Oh no, it's okay, wussy man. I understand wussy man doesn't want to do this." And the girl's like, "Oh, wussy man." So that's what you do, and you try to prod, because guys are not very smart. I know, because I used to be one.
Einstein.
What are you?
Just check it on that.
Well, you still have your finger, so you're fine.
The boy paused for just a moment, and he glanced first at the English girl, then at me. "Yeah," he said sharply. "Yeah, I'll bet you." The little man clapped his hands together quietly. "Fine, we do it now. And you, sir?" He turned to me. "You would perhaps be good enough to, to referee." He had pale, almost colorless eyes with tiny, bright black pupils. "Well, I think it's a crazy bet. I don't think I like it very much." "Nor do I," said the English girl. It was the first time she'd spoken. "I think it's a stupid, ridiculous bet."
Good.
"Are you serious about cutting off this boy's finger if he loses?" "Certainly I am. Also about giving him Cadillac if you win. Come now, we go to my room." He stood up. "Did you like to put on some clothes first?" "Nah. And remember, what's the boy wearing?"
A swimsuit.
Swimsuit. He just came right out of the pool. "Nah, I'll come like this." Then he turned to me. "I'd consider it a favor if you'd come along and referee." "All right, I'll come along, but I don't like this bet." "Hey, you come too," he said to the girl. "You come and watch." Because that's what girls like, when they watch guys get fingers cut off. The little man led the way back into the garden to the hotel. He was animated now and excited, and that seemed to make him bounce up higher than ever on his toes as he walked along. "I live in Annex. You like to see car first? It's just here." He took us to where we could see the front driveway of the hotel. And he stopped and pointed to a sleek, pale green Cadillac parked close by. "There she is, the green one. You like? Say, that's a nice car. All right, now we go up and see if you can win her." We followed him into the annex and up one flight of stairs. He unlocked his door, and we all trooped in what was a large, pleasant double bedroom. There was a woman's dressing gown lying across the bottom of one of the beds. "First," he said, "we have a little drink." The drinks were on a small table in the far corner, all ready to be poured, and there was ice and plenty of glasses. He began to make the drinks, but meanwhile he'd rung the bell. Now there was a knock on the door, and a maid came in. "Ah," he said, taking a wallet from his pocket, pulling out a pound note. "You will do something for me now, please?" He gave the maid the pound. "You keep that. Now, we're going to play a little game in here. And I want you to go up and find for me no, 3 things. I want some nails, I want a hammer, and I want a chopping knife. A butcher's chopping knife, which you can get from the kitchen. You can get that, yes? A chopping knife? The maid opened her eyes wide and clasped her hands in front of her. You mean a real chopping knife? Yes, of course. Come on now, please. You can shine those things surely for me. By the way, chopping knife, I mean like a butcher
Cleaver.
knife? So yeah, that's what they're talking about. The ones made for going through like cow bones and stuff like that.
Those words like sister's school.
Oh, God.
Yes, sir. I'll try, sir. Yes, sir. I'll try to get him. And she went. The little man handed round the drinks. We stood there and sipped them. The boy, with the long, freckled face and the pointed nose, bare-bodied except for a pair of faded brown swim trunks. The English girl, a large-boned, fair-haired girl wearing a pale blue swimsuit, who watched the boy over the top of her glass all the time. The little man, with the colorless eyes, standing there in his immaculate white suit, drinking from his glass, and looking at the girl in her pale blue swimsuit. I didn't know what to make of it all. The man seemed serious about the bet, and seemed serious about the business of cutting off the finger. But what if the boy lost? Then we'd have to rush him to the hospital in a Cadillac that he hadn't won. Well, that'd be a fine thing. It'd be a silly, unnecessary thing as far as I could see. Come on, don't you think this is rather a silly bet? I said. No, I think it's a fine bet, the boy answered. He'd already downed one large drink. I think it's a stupid, ridiculous bet, the girl said. What'll happen if you lose? Nah, it won't matter. Come on, to think of it, I can't remember ever in my life having had any use of a little finger in my left hand. Here he is. The boy took hold of the finger. Here he is. He hasn't ever done a thing for me yet. Yeah, why shouldn't I bet him? Nah, I think it's a fine bet. The little man smiled, picked up the shaker, and refilled our glasses. Before we begin, I will present to the referee the key of the car. He produced a car key from his pocket and gave it to me. The papers, the owning papers and insurance are in the pocket of the car. Then the maid came in again. In one hand, she carried a small chopper, the kind used by butchers for chopping meat bones, and in the other, a hammer and a bag of nails. Oh, good, you get them all. Thank you. Now, you can go. He waited until the maid had closed the door. Then he put the implements on one of the beds and said, now we prepare ourselves. Yes? And to the boy, help me, please, with this table. We carried out a little. It was the usual kind of hotel writing desk, just a plain rectangular table, about 4 feet by 3, with a blotting pad, ink, pens, and paper. They carried it out into the room away from the wall and removed all the writing things. And here's where we go to the part that you don't have. It continues from there. Here's my writing desk. So I'll act it out as we go through the story from there. And now, he said, a chair. He picked up a chair and placed it beside the table. He was very brisk and very animated, like a person organizing games at a children's party. And now the nails. I must put in the nails. He fetched the nails and he went to hammer them into the top of the table. We stood there, the boy, the girl, and I, holding drinks in our hands, watching the little man at work. We watched him hammer 2 nails into the table, about 6 inches apart. He didn't hammer them all the way in. He allowed a small part of each one to stick up. Then he tested them for firmness with his fingers. Anyone would think this guy had done this before, I told myself. He never hesitates. Table, nails, hammer, kitchen chopper. He knows exactly what he needs and how to arrange it. By the way, what does that tell you about him?
He does that a lot.
Oh, you guys are picking up on the foreshadowing. And now, he said, all we want is some string. He found some string. All right, at last we are ready. Will you please sit here at the table? He said to the boy. The boy put his glass away and sat down. Now, place the left hand between these 2 nails. The nails are only so I can tie your hand in place. All right. Oh, good. Now I tie your hand secure to the table like so. He wound the string around the boy's wrist, then several times around the wide part of the hand. Then he fastened it tight to the nails. He made a good job of it, and when he finished, there wasn't any question about the boy being able to draw his hand away, but he could move his fingers. Now please, clench the fist, all except for the little finger. You must leave the little finger sticking out, lying on the table. Excellent. Now we are ready. With your right hand, you manipulate the lighter. But one moment, please. He skipped over to the bed and picked up the chopper. came back and stood beside the table with the chopper in his hand.
Oh, no.
Oh, that's such a good picture.
We are all ready, he said.
Oh.
And so the guy wrapped string around the wrist and then string around the hand, and so then tied it down. So basically the hand cannot move, but the kid can move his fingers. And then it has him clench the fist and then stick out the pinky like that. So the guy is just standing right above him, smiling, holding on to the cleaver with the finger sticking out.
Wow.
And then the right hand has the lighter. The English girl was standing there in her pale blue swimsuit right behind the boy's chair. She was just standing there, not saying anything. The boy was sitting quite still, holding the lighter in his right hand, looking at the chopper. The little man was looking at me. Real quick, this is where I had to stop in first period when they started flipping tables. The bell rang when we got there, and I'm like,
It's
read it
about
on your own.
Okay,
They're
keep
upset.
reading
All
it.
right. Are you ready? I asked the boy. Yeah, I'm ready. And you? I asked the little man. Oh yeah, quite ready, he said. And he lifted the chopper up in the air and held it there about 2 feet above the boy's finger, ready to chop. The boy watched it, but he didn't flinch, and his mouth didn't move at all. He merely raised his eyebrows and frowned. All right, I said. Go ahead. The boy said, would you mind counting out loud the number of times I do it? Yeah, I said. Yeah, I can do that. With his thumb, he raised the top of the lighter, and again with the thumb, he gave the wheel a sharp flick. The flint sparked, and the wick caught fire and burned with a small yellow flame. 1! I called. He didn't blow the flame out. He closed the top of the lighter on it, waited for perhaps 5 seconds before opening it again. He flicked the wheel very strongly, and once more there was a small flame burning on the wick. 2! No one else said anything. The boy kept his eyes on the lighter. The little man held the chopper up in the air, and he too was watching the lighter. 3! 4!
I'm scared.
Bro, if he burns his
5!
I'm gonna get scared outside of you.
6!
Doesn't it get hot?
He's not going to be able to do it on 10.
7!
Yeah, it's gonna get a 9.
Obviously, it was one of those lighters that worked. The flame gave a big spark, and the wick was the right length. I watched the thumb snapping the top down onto the flame, then a pause, then the thumb raising the top once more. This was an all-thumb operation. The thumb did everything. I took a breath, ready to say 8. The thumb flicked the wheel. The flint sparked, and the little flame appeared. 8! I said. And as I said it, the door opened, and we all turned and saw a woman standing in the doorway. A small, black-haired woman, rather old, who stood there for about 2 seconds, then rushed forward, shouting, Carlos! Carlos! She grabbed his wrist, took the chopper, and threw it onto the bed, took hold of the little man by the lapels of his white suit, and began shaking him so vigorously and talking to him fast and loud and fiercely all the time in some Spanish-sounding language. She shook him so fast you couldn't see him anymore. He became a faint, misty, quickly moving outline like the spokes of a turning wheel. Then she slowed down, and the little man came into view again, and she hauled him across the room and threw him backward onto one of the beds. He sat on the edge of it, blinking his eyes and testing his head to see if it would still turn on his neck. I am so sorry, the woman said. I am so terribly sorry that this should happen. She spoke almost perfect English. It is too bad. I suppose it is really my fault. For 10 minutes, I leave him alone to go and have my hair washed, and I come back, and he is at this again. She looked sorry and deeply concerned. The boy was untying his hand from the table. The English girl and I stood there and said nothing. He is a menace, the woman said. Down where we live at home, he has taken altogether 47 fingers from different people, and he has lost 11 cars. In the end, they threatened to have him locked away somewhere. That's why I brought him up here. We're only having a little bet, mumbled the man from the bed. I suppose he bet you a car, the woman said. Yeah, the boy answered, a Cadillac. He has no more cars. That one is mine, and that makes it worse. He should bet you when he has nothing to bet with. I'm ashamed and very sorry about this all. She seemed an awfully nice woman. Oh, well, I said, then here's the key of your car. I put it back on the table. We were only having a little bet, mumbled the man. He hasn't anything left to bet with, the woman said. He hasn't a thing in the world. Not a thing. As a matter of fact, I myself won it all from him a long while ago. It took time, a lot of time, and it was hard work. But I won it from it all in the end. She looked up at the boy. She smiled, a slow, sad smile. And she came over, put out a hand to take the key from the table. And I can still see it now. That hand of hers had one finger on it and a thumb.
What the?
So that's our ending of the story. So we find out that that woman turns out to be his sister. Because if it was a wife, what would you do?
Put a ring on it.
Divorce him. And so it's his sister who's worried about him. And so the only way to stop her brother, who is insane and apparently incredibly rich, is to bet him. And so apparently he bets a lot. How many times has he won?
47.
And how many times has he lost?
11.
And so because of that, the only way that she can stop him is by taking everything he owns. The only way she can take everything he owns is by betting him. So his own sister had to sit there and bet him until she was down to just 2 fingers left. By the way, where was she when she wasn't there? Getting her hair washed. Which sounds like an easy thing till you realize, why did she have to get her hair washed? Because she can't do it herself, because she's down to just a finger.
Are you
and a
going to
thumb.
put it on there still?
I have a question.